I'm going to take 3 months and not read my Bible.
Anyways, pick the egg up, put it in my mouth. It literally pops so loud.
We have a survey that was put out as of last week, Friday, before you're seeing this, about online services.
There's been so many times where we see people that, hey, I wasn't necessarily looking for a church, but through Scott Mendenhall and Friends, or I searched this and this title came up. It's like we want to be there for that.
Sunday, everybody. Welcome to a place where we have great humans that are loving to hang out with each other. My name is Scott Mendenhall. If you're just joining us, we're so excited to have you with us. We're talking about being a champion in life, how to win every life battle. It's going to be an exciting one today. To my left is Lily Arnold. How we doing?
Hello, I found out yesterday there's another Lily Arnold in the cities.
What?
Gotta find her.
Wow, okay. So
yeah,
it's
we're
like,
about to be BFFs, guys.
Yeah, no, you're probably the complete opposite.
No,
You're going to be enemies.
If it was your maiden name, I think it would be more unique.
Ooh,
for
two
sure.
wieners?
I mean, yeah,
Yikes.
Wiener's
Be
so
intense.
uncommon. I mean, I did meet a Christopher Wiener. He goes to my gym.
Okay, that's odd. It's spelled the same way? Is there only one way to spell wiener? Oh, I didn't know. Okay. We got Holly, my wife, over here.
Thanks, guys. You got it.
Holly's over here. How you doing, baby?
I'm doing very, very
That's my
good.
wife for all of
Hi,
those.
everybody. That's why he calls me baby.
Yeah, hotness. There's a couple names for her.
Sure.
Wearing a Viking shirt.
Always.
While
Always.
this is dropping live on YouTube, the Vikings are going to be competing, so it could be good or bad. Who knows? They're in London today.
They're going to be the champion.
We'll see. We also have Dwayne down in Mississippi. How we doing today, Dwayne?
Hey, Dwayne.
To Dwayne. Didn't we catch eyes? Put those two together? Dwayne, how we doing?
I'm good.
Thanks for dressing up today, Dwayne. Got a collar on?
Absolutely.
Collar.
Looking
Pop the
sharp.
collar just for you guys.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Chances of the Vikings with victory today, as it is happening while we speak today, Dwayne. It's very odd to know that that's happening.
Don't tell us. Nobody tell us.
Yeah.
Quite the distraction.
Don't put it in the chat. Okay, Dwayne, what's your thoughts?
About the Vikings game?
Yeah.
It's positive.
It's positive. Okay.
All positive.
Yep. Sam Darnold, MVP of the league. Here we go.
Yeah,
okay.
right.
Some might think that this is
AOC, Coach of the Year.
an NFL podcast. No. This
No.
is
No.
We all go to the same church. We like to talk about positive things in life and to inspire us to make wise decisions and things of that nature. And it's a group coming together from all over the place. Like we introduced Dwayne. He's from Mississippi. We're from Minnesota. We have Dan and Jen down there in Florida, Tampa, Florida. Then you have Marnie and crew all the way up in Washington State. You have some up in the tippiest parts of Michigan. You have on the East Coast. It's just, we're spread across all over the place. It's really cool to come together and we talk about things that are going to make your life better, make your life you better at life. It's so, and this topic today is a good one. This is an all skate, all play for everybody, no matter where you are on who you say Jesus is. So we're excited to bring this topic to you. And so hang in there with us, okay?
I love board games that have those all plays.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about that time.
I don't really like that because I don't like that if I can't get an advantage. I can't get one up on everybody. Everybody can score.
You get to go again. You get to move again.
I just don't like that everyone gets points. I want to get the only sole points.
Selfish.
No, it's not selfish. It's strategically winning.
Make wise
what games are you playing?
Oh my goodness. I play games all day. Baby. Okay, so 2 weekends ago, I think it is by now, we were up in the northern part of Wisconsin. A group of us, 30 of us went, and when we say us, it's Dan and Jen and Parker drove all the way to Wisconsin to help as a group serve in Wisconsin, just coming in, and it's a different way of serving. We saw a need where we can help one-wheel races get better, and we went there to serve, and we have done this for a couple years where we're just starting the races. There's stages. We're at the beginning and the end. We make sure people are safe. It's such a fun time, and we had an opportunity to do that. And we have a video. We just want to show what your church went to do because we know some of you gave money just for, hey, I can't go, but I can help other people go. We want you to know what your church is about and what we're doing. So as you see this video and pictures, don't just see, oh, it's a one-wheel race. It was us being able to be a light in the darkness, to share positivity. Those that were discouraged by the way they were going, we got to pray with heaps of people. It was just a great opportunity. It really, really was. So watch this, as this is a highlight video of what we are doing as a community. I think you're going to enjoy this. Lily did a really good job of putting it together. Check out these pictures of just a small sample size of those that went in what we did. Enjoy this. We'll be right back. Right there. Oh my goodness. It was such a spectacular trip. One of the best comments I've heard, Dwayne, from that trip is somebody saying that Holly had a constant line of people that needed to just cry on her shoulders. She was just talking with people. They were crying on her shoulders.
I love that community.
Somebody said, that's much like on Sundays at Unlock Church. So what do you do to make people cry? Are you pinching them? What are you doing? Putting something in the drink?
I hit them first.
Wow.
Then I embrace.
And then I embrace. Well, let's hit them with the truth. Give them some grace. There it is.
Hope they walk away feeling loved.
Okay, I'm coming also, Dwayne, today with a dilemma. Okay, so maybe you can help me choose this. Okay, there has been a competition that has been presented to us, a one-wheeling competition, where if one of our 8 can do a 1-mile course and land a drop, they're gonna win a lot of money. Okay, so I need your help. We can only pick one. We can only pick one.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you my pick.
One kid?
One kid. I'm going to tell you my pick, but I'm going to show you, just for those that are home, you can help us in the chat who you would pick. Okay, we're going to go. We have 8 children. They all ride one wheels. But so you know the caliber of riders, I figure we better help everybody see the skill level here. Okay, so here's Legend, our 15-year-old.
Nope, 16.
16-year-old. Glad Holly's here. Dropping. That's about a 4-foot drop to 6. Okay, that was Legend. Really good. We probably should hit that one again just so people are trying to catch up what's going on. This is Legend. He is very good.
I like that it goes into a bit of slow-mo.
Yeah, we'll have to commend the filmer for that one. And then we got Epic, who is our 15-year-old. Mm-hmm. So Holly confirmed. Here he is, dropping. He smashes it. He rides away clean. Got a little bit of a little woo. It's kind of sweet. Okay, then we have Icon. She's hitting.
Get it, girl.
She's hitting some rock garden stuff here. This is precarious spa out in Tahoe.
Nice.
If she doesn't land it, she falls off the mountaintop. And then you got Historic. She is riding here. She's a great mobster. There's the view. This is her riding that same little feature, and she's picking her own line. These are very difficult lines to hit, but remember what we're doing.
I don't think the video does that justice.
No, they never do. Remember what we got. Dwayne, you're helping me pick. Who would you pick for this competition, okay? Just remember that's what it is. As everyone gets lost in that, I can't believe your children are riding that. Some are thinking, I can't believe you take your kids out there. That's so dangerous. I got it.
Yeah, for sure. That's my thought.
Some people are thinking these things.
They got helmets on.
Yeah.
They're good.
I mean, helmets, so they can watch themselves bleed at the bottom of the hill. That's cool. So then here is Inspire. Guy is an up-and-comer. He's trying his hardest to send
that's a big drop for him.
Yeah, it's like taller than him.
I was going to say, he almost had it.
He dropped it 15 times, Dwayne, and never actually rode it out. He said, Dad, can I stop because my heel was hurting from smacking the board so many times. Okay, then you're coming around the corner we have 3 remaining. We have Greatness, who is a great mobster. He rides a Pint X. Here he is. He just full sends that.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Oh, that
And
was
that's so
What you
dangerous
don't
because
see
he
is there is a cliff.
it's just,
onto
like
the
if he
left
didn't
of
get
him.
stopped by the tree,
That's
he's going
terrifying.
down. I asked him if you had audio doing it. It's like, oh, how are you? He goes, dusty. So here, go watch that video again. Now that it happens so fast, I know people are trying to wait. What did I just see? This is greatness. He just eats
Oh my
it,
God.
and he was dirty. He was straight dirty. It
Fell
like
into
sticks
the
to him.
bush.
Yeah. I mean,
That dirt is like it's kind of like that fine
that's-
ashy dirt.
yeah,
Like
because that is ash.
all just
Like
in
hit
your
it again.
face.
We were riding where 2 years ago there was a massive forest fire that went through there, so there were it was literally ash. So as you say that, see how there's no pine needles on there?
Oh man.
Oh
He
man,
hit the ground hard.
he did. But his comment was dirty, dusty. I love it. That guy, he's a fighter. He is a true warrior. That's greatness. He's what? 8, 9,
Greatness is 8.
8. Okay, I stopped giving the ages, but there you go. 8 years old. Then you have Courage, who is 7. Here's Courage and his ability. He rode last week in the Groms competition, his first one-wheel race. Look at him just cruising. Like, I think he forgot in this moment
That
it
it
was
was a
actually a race. He's just like, oh, this is beautiful.
However, Courage, there's not a huge gap between being like a daredevil and common sense. Like he just normally will send it.
Oh, yeah.
Like just flies.
That's true with boys. Now, I got to be brutally honest about myself there, Dwayne. In that very same section that we just saw Courage, I ran into a tree.
No
So-
footage?
No footage.
of that?
Dwayne
Oh,
or
man.
Dan was standing there and didn't get the footage. That footage right there is courteous of Dan. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I would say
Okay.
that's a good way to say
Okay,
it.
so thank you, Dan, for that shot.
Courtesy.
Courtesy
of
of.
Dan.
Okay,
Right,
and then here is Revolution, our youngest. Remember, we're trying to pick who you would pick to
He's
win.
5.
He's 5. Okay, here he is. He's sending it on a small little rainbow rail
Is
up
that
there.
in slow-mo or?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no. Thank you for asking
play
for
it
clarity.
again?
Here is. This is straight full on. Just trying it.
Come on, that's
5 years
that's
old.
so
You
cute.
guys
Okay.
don't know the tears that came with that.
Oh, I saw the video. But we're trying to again. So now you got to pick, Dwayne. Here's the 8. We got to make a crucial decision of who you would pick based on what you just saw. Who's your pick, Dwayne?
So I'm going to go with the tried and true method. Okay. Cast lots.
Okay.
you
That was
can't
great,
pick. You can't pick.
Dwayne. He
You
knew
can't
he
pick.
was gonna say that.
You can't pick.
That was great.
No.
But the whole
No.
point of this thing is that they'll be able to do a drop in the course.
Yeah, and it's 1 mile course,
They
and at
have
the
to do
end
the
they have to
drop?
hit the drop.
Then
if you
pick the kid who's best at
don't,
drops.
then who would you pick, Legend? I mean, Lily.
I would pick Legends. I would pick Legends.
Legend, yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Now I can make a case because
For Revolution.
knowing the personalities,
Okay.
I think Legend, obviously great at it, probably the best, but knowing that the money is on the line, I think the pressure would get to him. I think Epic is enough to where he's so much of a dude that I think it would be
I
closer
don't
between
disagree with
Epic
that.
and Legend than it would be if it was just for fun.
A go-to, like your go-to would be like what we were. Legend would seemingly be the one you would.
Well,
but then
he's
when you
been
really
on the
start to boil
board.
it down, Epic might under pressure not crumble a little bit.
But would in that same vein, would Epic take it less seriously than Legend?
I don't know. That's all for them.
Well,
These are fair
whoever
conversations.
were to do it, the next one would be right behind him doing
Yeah.
being able to figure out.
Here's who I would pick. Here's just because of shock and awe. Like currently, I don't have I'm not out any money, right? Like it's just a chance to win it. And what if you sent Revolution down on that thing and
Honestly,
he won it?
love
What if
it.
that was the thing?
Or even Courage?
What if that was
love
who you
it.
pick and they line up against the pros and there
better
they are?
get 'em-
Doo-doo-doo.
You better get him some more safety gear than that helmet.
I don't think they'll need it. I don't think they're gonna need it. But here's
It'd be memorable.
It'd be memorable. Now, for all intents and purposes, that was a totally made up story.
What?
That is not actually a thing.
Thanks for telling us.
But it was a setup to, as we have flies in the studio today, and they're all over my face. I don't know if you can see that, Dwayne. They're bothering me.
They in my coffee.
Shoe fly.
They are.
I
Stop
mean, like
bothering
trying to be.
me. Oh, my friend.
It's okay.
We'll
Just
get you.
ignore
Okay.
them.
That story is to paint the story of a realization of what happened to a man named David, right? Did you catch where I was heading there, Dwayne? Were you putting that together quite yet?
No, because things like that happen. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
all right, good. You sold it. I hope
definitely
everyone-
could happen
I
to
put
them
it
and all,
together as
so-
soon as you said, "What if we put Rev against them?"
Oh, right.
Like,
It took
the
you that long.
littlest one.
Yeah.
I was like, "Where's he going?"
No.
with this?
Good analogy, babe.
Here's the story. If Lily, you can find the actual references for me because it's in 1 Samuel.
Yeah.
They're looking. It's not 17.
The reference. Oh.
I need the actual word. They go to anoint David
Oh, sure.
king. So the story is, for all those that need the context, you can find this in 1 Samuel. David is a youngest boy of 8, I think there is 8 kids, and he's the youngest. He's out doing shepherdy things. The wise man of the time comes to anoint the next king, and they know it's going to come from David's house. And they show up and they go through a list of his brothers. And the wise man, Samuel, goes, "Hey, is there anybody else? Because these are not it." Yeah, the oldest one, he's sharp looking, but it's a no-go. The next one, yeah, he's got muscles, and he would also be a strong contender for this. Not a chance. It goes all the way down to the most unlikely person, David. He was a shepherd boy. Where is it found, Lil?
1 Samuel 16.
So it's a chapter before we're going to jump in today. David, the most unlikely to be picked to be the next king, he's doing shepherdy things. These are like the bottom of the barrel projects, chores, because it's like, you're the runt of the litter. Good luck. I hope you survive. If you don't, we have all these other replacements for you. We have 7 other chances. So you getting an inheritance as the 8th child, 0 chance in this day and age. And David was selected to be the next king, which is a wild story. It would be the equivalent of me choosing Revolution to go do something that you look at and go, wait, all of the other 7 would be far superior in what is going to go on. And so I wanted you to feel what you should ultimately feel with the David story. Now, if you've grown up in church, you're like, I grew up and saw this on a felt board. I know this story inside. This is one story that I do find that most people get right. You ever notice that? Mm-hmm. Some stories in the Bible people don't get right.
You mean like the retelling?
The retelling of it. But this one, David and Goliath, I mean, even when you watch directors of movies, they're always like, oh, this is such a David and Goliath story. Because it's just an easy one. But like sometimes I've heard some people jack up the Joseph story. Like, man, have you ever heard this, Dwayne? Has anyone, this has happened to me, 25 years now of being a pastor, and I've heard this one before. Somebody comes, oh man, Joseph, man, he had a rough go. His brothers threw him into a cistern, then he was a slave, then he went to jail, he was forgotten about, and then it all worked out really for him, because then he marries Mary, and then they have Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
And you're like,
That's rough.
I'm like, whoa. That's hundreds of years later.
Not the same guy.
Not the same guy, but I can see how it's confusing.
Yeah,
same name. Right? And you're trying to help those that are doing that, going, hold on, let me help you a little bit, and put the story back in its right placement. So that happens at times, which is fine, and I think we should give more grace to people that do that, because the Bible, at times when you're not paying attention, all of a sudden you got 2 Josephs going on, and you don't catch on that it's hundreds of years difference. But what a wild story that would be if that was the real deal of the outcome. That is not. It's 2 different Josephs, and we don't have time to unpack it, okay? So Holly is going to have to make an exit. She's trying to do it all kind of slow and stealthy. I was. But your mic is no longer at your face anymore.
I was trying to be quiet.
Do you want to say goodbye to everyone?
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for being here.
I got to go run.
She's got to go do. We got a lot of things moving around here, and so today we're kicking off a brand new series. We already said this at the opener. Here's the slide for it, in case when you see it in the email and things of that nature. We're really excited about this one, as we're going into the fall of the season's champion.
That looks good.
How to win life battles, okay? We're going to really spend weeks talking about different battles that we are up against as humans, that are all skates, that we all face. Some of us want to act like we don't, which is sad. Today we're talking about giants. We all face giants. Dwayne, I've heard once before, as I talk about David and Goliath and giants, people go, oh, that's not what this story's about. You're misinterpreting. It's like, but it's pretty easy to get the idea that when we face our giants, we can learn some things from David in the Goliath story. And so today we're going to try to teach how to face giants in our life. But here's what we need, Dwayne. I need you to, not your giants you're facing, unless you want to do that, but what do you think some of the number one contenders in the ring would be for giants that everyone face? What do you think? Lil, I'm coming to you next as well. And then write in the chat as well for you what you think some of those number one contending giants are. And maybe we'll talk about them over the next few weeks. Maybe they'll line up. What are some, Dwayne, for you that you think these are really strong contenders for all skate, all play giants for human race?
I mean, I think we all I think the one we experience the most is addictions, various and assorted addictions. So I think that's one that would be an all skate, all state, all
play.
Yeah. All play. Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll go with addictions. Yeah.
Addictions. I'm using the all skate because that's an old school term, like when you'd show up at an ice skating rink or a roller skating rink, and now it's an all skate. Everyone come skate. That's kind of what I'm saying. It's for all human. Lil, what are you saying?
I would say like mental health is a huge thing right now in our world, especially parts of the world, and I bet that's a big giant for some people.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, I think those are some of the go-tos. I think when you really start sitting down, I think insecurity is a big giant for all of us. Men tend to say, oh, I'm not insecure, but pride is a version of insecurity. We just label it something different. And so we're going to spend some time talking about these battles that we all face and what are the ramifications if you don't change it? What are the solutions to some of it? How do you fix it? And so we're excited about it. And so today, because Giants is a big contender for all of us, you're in the ring. And here's the thing about Giants that I've learned. Well, maybe we should get to the story because maybe some people are unfamiliar with the David and Goliath story. So we're going to read it from chapter 17 of 1 Samuel. And if you're wondering, hey, Scott, what would you say your favorite books of the Bible are? It would be 1 and 2 Samuel. I love these books. They're phenomenal. They just have it all. They're packed with drama. It's packed with violence. It's packed with he said, she said. It's just so good. But then God's in the mix of it, trying to teach you how to walk through all those things. And it covers life and death of a king named David that in Acts 13:22, God said, I found David a man after my own heart to do everything I want him to do. And David's pretty jacked up. And so as you get to follow his whole life, I think it's really cool to just see what his life looks like when he screws up and how he repents. The thing about David, what I love, is that when he gets caught with his hand in the cookie jar, he don't blame it on somebody else. Well, you know what? Somebody put the cookie jar on the table. And if they wouldn't have done that, he owns it and goes, I'm so sorry, and he repents. He doesn't place blame, which we get caught in so much. We blame our circumstances on our parents, on our bosses, on our friends, versus owning it. As long as you blame, you don't have to take ownership and you don't correct it. As soon as you take the ownership of it, now you got to do something about it because it's your fault. So simply what I'm trying to say to everybody, don't blame it on other people. So let's read 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 4. We're going to start, okay? So you want to read, if you're like, what's the first 3 verses? There's so many verses reading today, we got to skip a few here and there, okay? Here we go. A champion named Goliath, who was from Gath, came out from the Philistine camp. His height was 6 cubits and spanned, in a span, sorry, that is 9 feet, 9 inches. So if you need some kind of idea what that is the height of a goal on a basketball hoop. Okay, the orange thing where you shoot, that's called a goal. That's 10 feet. That's how tall this giant is. His wingspan is 10 feet. Think about that. 10 feet. He can come forward 5 feet and get me. I mean, it's just wild. Just when you think about how big he is. His spear, continuing in 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 7, his spear shaft was like a weaver rod, and its iron point weighed 600 shekels, which is 125 pounds. Lily, how much do you think, since we're kind of a lot, we carry our one wheels a lot around here, right? How much does one wheel weigh?
Oh, like 30 pounds?
Yeah, 30. Yeah. 35 pounds, depending on what you have.
125
now, could you imagine,
pound spear is crazy.
Could you imagine one wheel on the end at 35 pounds, right? But 120. This dude isn't just tall. That's what I'm gathering from this.
He's very strong.
Yeah, he's jacked. I should have got a picture of he's just huge. The Philistines grew large in those days. They are always referred in ancient history as the giants. And there's historians have figured out why they think they grew so big and what they ate and where. Oh, it's fascinating. It's fascinating to see. They also talk about the limitations that these guys have. A lot of times it's their height. Did you know this, Dwayne? A lot of the Philistines in this day and age, because they grew so tall, there would be some disadvantages in that. And that was their eyesight primarily was not as good as 2020. Something to do with their height and the speed they grew and things of that nature. I just find that very interesting as we continue in the story today. So we're going to continue. 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 8. Goliath stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, Why do you come out and line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine? Who are you? Not the servant of Saul? Choose a man and have him come down to me. If he's able to fight and kill me, we should become your subjects. But if I overcome him and kill him, you will become our subjects and serve us. Then the Philistines said, This day I defy the armies of Israel. Give me a man and let us fight each other. On hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and all the Israelites were dismayed and terrified. The giant hasn't even done anything yet. This is the first thing you got to learn about your giant. Your giant, when it started, hadn't done anything yet. It was played out, worst case scenario in your head. Giants start by shouting. They're just trying to make you step back, rock back, and get out of the way. Whatever that is. The crazy thing is we turn what is a made-up situation into reality, and we act like we got two choices, either to fight or flight, and it's not even a real option yet because the giant isn't even close enough to do anything. I'm reading the champion guy, Goliath, who is from Gath, came out of the camp, and he stood and shouted at Israel. That's all he's doing. And they were terrified. Does that make sense, Lil? Like, I know I do a lot of life with you, so some days you come in here and you're talking about your giants, and all they're doing is chirping at you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. This is preaching to the choir today.
But
yeah.
why is it so easy to let those things that chirp at you, nip at your heel, bother you so much, do you think?
Because I think they mask themselves as potential truths. And even if they have the ability to reveal itself in some manner, it doesn't mean that it should have ground in my life, but I let them. You know, we often just allow it to be. Again, that's hard. When you say I allow it and you take ownership, now I've got to do something about it. But as long as I can blame it on somebody else, I don't have to do anything. Think about also, I'm just taking what I'm reading in the story. We know the name of David's giant. Now, David hasn't been brought into this story, so I guess it's the Israelites' giant right now. Goliath. So my question to us today, what's the name of your giant? What is it? Are you calling it is it addiction? Is it alcohol? Is it lust? Is it pride? Insecurity? Is it debt? What is your giant that just yells at you? But first, what do you call it? Because you got to identify your giant. You got to identify your battle, because every battle against different giants, the tactics and strategies of you to win and overcome is different. So you got to be able to identify your giant. Dwayne, I'm going to ask you, because we hear from Lily the things that chirp at her a little bit. That little dog that just nips at your heels, just a nuisance. Why do we let that stuff transpire in our life? Maybe you, even for yourself, you're like, what? Why do you find yourself sometimes just listening to those giants?
Yeah, that's it's tough. And I think it's honestly, it is, we talk about, we've talked recently about temptation and how it's the arrows, and it's not, temptation is not a sin, but when we sit and dwell on it, that's when it becomes a sin. It's like, if we're not prepared for battle, if we're not armored, if we're not ready for battle and know that the giant is there, then we're prone, we're vulnerable to those attacks. Just those a volley of arrows of just trying to get any type of vulnerability. And if we're not ready for it, then now we found ourselves, and I find myself like just my thoughts spiraling, and it's like, okay, like by the time I realize, hey, you know what, like I'm losing this battle, it's like the battle's already taken place, and
Yeah.
I'm a couple steps behind, and now I've got to work to get out of the hole.
Yeah. It's funny when you start at the beginning when the Giants just yelling at you, right? It's like easy, but as soon as you go down the spot, now you got work to come back out of the hole. You said it so well there, Dwayne. So we got to identify our giants. We got to be able to call it by name. And I wrote just more down. I want to open up the descriptive words, I guess. And maybe if I forgot any big ones, let me know. We have lust, pride, selfishness, marriage, work, weight, loss, weight gain, depression, loneliness, anxiety, brokenness, the loss of a friendship, a loss of a loved one in a death. The next question is, what's your giant yelling at you? And I wrote it like this in my notes. Is your giant yelling at you, you're no good? You don't look right. You don't have the right friends. You don't have enough money. You're lazy. You aren't talented. You're not an athlete. No one cares about you. You have been abandoned. Someone abused you, so no one will want you. You struggle with depression, so just give up. Your marriage didn't work, so why try again? No one will love me because of what I did last night, 10 years ago, or when I was 16. These are just some of, and we're missing... we're missing some of them. Lil, you want to add anything to that? What giants can yell at us that can just rock us back and make us run?
You listed a lot. I'm thinking about these scenarios and how they really mess people up. And I think, yeah, like some of these scenarios really do mess people up.
Yeah.
And like when you listed loss, like even at grieving a death, there's a time to grieve and there's a time to not let it be a giant, and the beautiful thing about all this, and even for David, like there's a God who's with you in these things and can pick you out of that pit of despair. So
yeah. Again, it's important to be able to hear what your giants are saying to you. Once you identify the giant and then you hear what they're yelling, then you're going to do the opposite, because right now what the Israelites and Saul, the king of Israel, and the armies they are dismayed and terrified. Two paralyzing things that can rob you of your future and rob you of moving you forward. Remember last week we talked about the devil tempting Jesus, and what does the devil want to do? He wants to just devour and destroy. He wants to use giants to paralyze, to neutralize us, especially as followers of Jesus, so that we will no longer be light in the darkness, diminish our light. Oh, I have enough light to be bright enough to be like, I'm saved, I'm going to go to heaven, but I'm not bright enough to change the world. We need to shine so bright that we're changing the things around us. And the enemy wants to diminish all of those things by by putting giants in our life and letting the giants yell at us to discourage and to dismay us and make us feel fear. That's why it's so important in today to call your giant by name and recognize what that giant is saying to you. Because now you got something to do. Now, you can, I think somebody's going to say there's more ways than two, but I kind of see it as that. It's black and white for me when it comes to giants. You got two options. You give in to and do a giant, meaning fear. I'll never be better than this. That's giving into your giant. Or the other is your giant just irritates you enough that you're going to go at them. It's like those little dogs that, like, you ever been around tiny dogs? They got this little dog syndrome, we call it around here, where they just go at everything. They're just attacking everything. That's what you got to be like. You'll be like a little chihuahua that's possessed and jump on you. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm picturing when your giant's coming on. But we become timid. We back down. Like we are not sons and daughters of a king. We behave as if we're nothing. We're like dirt, dust. Back to the story in 1 Samuel chapter 17. Now David was the son of Jesse, who was born in Bethlehem in Judea. Jesse had 8 sons, and in Saul's time was very old. Jesse's 3 oldest sons had followed Saul to war. The firstborn was Eliab. The second, know. And the third, yeah, you got it. If you see it on the screens, you can. David was the youngest. The 3 oldest followed David.
Followed Saul.
Saul, sorry. Thank you.
I got you.
But David went back and forth from Saul to tend his father's sheep at Bethlehem. Again, it's very important that even in this story here, he's the youngest. It's just constantly pointing out what his giants would be saying to David. Hey, you're youngest. And he's reminded every day as he wakes up and he's had just slept with the sheep. His dad isn't even letting him sleep in the home. It's like, hey, you're out with the sheep. You're the youngest. It's going to take 8 of our children or 7 of them to pass away before you get the inheritance. So we're going to put you out at pasture, literally. And if we need you, we'll call you in. I mean, that's literally what's happening to David here. He has become forgotten. He is not a necessary thing for them. He's just the 8th up if there are 7 dead, which is wild when you think about it. But here's what you got to also understand, because we're going to go to David and Goliath, and this is like this myth. David's first giant wasn't Goliath. We saw it here. We've referred to it. If we brought Legend in, we should have done that and asked him how would he feel if I picked Revolution to do this made-up hypothetical race over him. He would feel rejected. He would feel less than. All these things. Not to put down Revolution, but you're just looking and going, hold on. You're 16 years old. You're clearly the pick from a human eyes perspective, and we're going Revolution. That's the equivalent of what David is walking through. David's first giant was rejection, everybody, that we know of, that we can follow through, is he was rejected. Not by his peers, not by a coworker, by his family. That is like 1,000,000 tons of pressure on a kid. Dwayne, help me, because some people are going to go, well, what is rejection? How would you explain when I say his giant is rejection? What is rejection, Dwayne? In your best way of putting that together, paint the picture. How would you write that down? And maybe in the chat, you guys can write, if you're watching live, you can write in there, what is rejection? How would you explain it, Dwayne?
Like, I think in this situation, it's you're not good enough. Like, you are insignificant. It's like you're not old enough, you're not significant, you are not strong enough. Like, just the list goes on of, everything that when he wakes up in the morning time, and I imagine, that I would think that these responsibilities are divvied up, a little bit, as the family's home. But every day when he gets up and he's doing these tasks that he would share responsibility for, he's reminded each day of, hey, you're not good enough yet. You're not good enough. You're not old enough. And that's a constant reminder of just, where he's at. So, that's what I have.
No, that's good. It even sets up my next point here, but we got to get back to the story to really, but you don't know it, but you said it so well. We're going to go back to 1 Samuel chapter 17 here. For 40 days, the Philistine came forward every morning and every evening and took his stand. This happened 2 times a day for 40 days. The thing I got to say to all of us that got our thing, like you were just saying about rejection, he's reminded every day, giants don't take days off. They're there. The questions you have about you, can you, will you, are with you daily. The feeling of rejection from your family, if that's your story, will constantly be a reminder every day that it will feed you information on how you pursue life as an adult. Being part of so many people's lives over 25 years now, 17 years as a youth pastor, and now watching those young people become adults, Lily being one of them. And watching some of those isms as a 16-year-old that they did not deal with, or it was situations that was too big for a 16-year-old to manage, and how that seeps into their adulthood that now defines their inability to do things. Or when someone says something, it opens up a box that they've tried to push down so hard in their life, all of a sudden they feel and it's like, wait, I didn't say that. But because it was undealt, the giant was undealt with when it happened and put away, it rears its head as an adult and makes a mess of situations. So today, as you watch this and your experience this, you have got to deal with your giant. It is time. Even if you've read books about giants, giants don't take days off. I think that frustrates me in one sense, because I want a day off, right? I can take a day off from work. I can take a day off from cutting the grass. But I could be sitting on my porch and my mind is still playing the scenario. And I can be angry all over. I can feel less than. I can feel unwanted. I can feel inadequate of what I'm supposed to do. The question is, I wrote this in my note, the question is all that you hear and see, is it the giant, right? You can't see around a giant. Is all that you hear is the words of your giant, and all that you see is the giant. You can't see past your giants. When all we see is our giants, we stop. We don't dream. We don't try. We don't do. We just stop. I can't get around it. I can't get over it. It's a defining moment in our lives, which is totally dangerous. See, I wrote like this. The problem with giants is that they are the first thing we think about, or it's the first thing we think about when we wake up. It's the last worry we have before we fall asleep. Giants dominate our days, infiltrate our excitement about life. I mean, you could continue to expound, but I think we're getting the idea here. And so what we want to do is pause in the conversation here and give you a second to reflect on your giant. Maybe you got to get a piece of paper. I think the best thing you could do is grab a piece of paper and a pen and yourself. During this next moment, we're going to play a song and start labeling your giants. And then, when do you experience that giant the most? Is it right before bed? Is it in the car ride? Because when you can start seeing where the giant's going to show up, you can build an attack system. Notice I said attack. I didn't say defense. We need to be on the offense against giants. Not defense says we're just going to hang on to what we got here. No. We want to be offensive in life. We want to take ground. We want to take back what the enemy's taken from us. So we want to be on the offense. So you need to name your giant. What's the giant saying about you or to you? And when is it happening? So during this song, that's what I want you to do. Write that down. And if you want some built-in accountability, put it in the chat. Or if you're watching throughout the week, put it in the comments down below. That just inspires other people. I'm not alone. When we write things in the chat, when it's live on Sunday morning, and when we do comments throughout the week, it gives people that, I'm not alone. And so what we want to do is, Our God Reigns is the song today because, man, that is the truth we got to hold on to. As you face your giants, you're not alone. Our God reigns through everything. And so as we sing this song, may you do a little bit of work personally, and then we'll be right back. Here it is. Our God reigns. Enjoy. That is such a great short song. And it's just truth. They're singing a truth over your life and my life that God reigns. The question is, do you believe that? Because sometimes we run around life, we sing things that we don't believe, which makes us liars, which is dangerous. Our God reigns, but not over my situation, not over my health problem, my finances, over my kids, raising my kids, right? God reigns, but not here. Don't sing lies. That should be the thing that should be inspiring us. So let's jump back into the story. This is Uber Eats, okay, in the Bible. There's nothing new under the sun. That's what the wisest man ever wrote or lived. He said, there's nothing new under the sun. Uber Eats was in the Bible, okay? And David was the founder of it by his dad. Because what we find in the story is in 1 Samuel chapter 7, verse 20, early in the morning, David left his flock in care of a shepherd, loaded up, and set out as Jesse had directed. He reached camp as the army was going out to its battle positions, shouting the war cry. Israel and the Philistines were drawing up their lines facing each other. David left his things with the keeper of supplies, ran to the battle lines, and asked his brothers how they were. See, his dad asked him to take some food, the Uber Eats situation, and check in on the brothers, okay? And that's what's happening. He Uber Eated it. He took it down there, but now the lines are forming in the morning because this is the time the giants of Israel formed their lines and did what all their squawking was in the morning and the evening. So they're drawing their lines. The formalities are going through with no intention of the Israelites to do anything. For 40 days, they have not done anything. They go through the motions. You know why you haven't beaten your giant yet? Lily, you want to take a crack at it? Why haven't people beaten their giants yet?
Because they're being lazy.
They're being lazy?
Going through the motions.
Oh, there it is. That's what I was looking for.
That's what you said.
Going through the motions. You just spent the last 10 years going through emotion on that topic. Today's the day you gotta have some kind of action. You gotta have somebody like a David in your life going, hey, stop it. Stop it right now. Here's what happens. When we have people in our lives that tell us to stop it, we stop that relationship because we don't like that they're telling us to go get it, or I see something in you. We want to go with the person and say, it's okay, I understand. The person gives you sympathy because it allows us, gives us permission to be lazy and to not change and to not do something different. We like that way better than we like the person to know one more push-up. People like the idea of the person that says one more push-up. They love the idea. Until they meet him. And then they're like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Right, Dwayne? I hear you chuckling in the background. That's true, though, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's all fun and games until you one more push-up. It's like,
yeah.
I hate this guy.
Yeah, I hate this guy. Like, Legend and Epic, they're in cross-country, which means you run a lot, and they're great at it. But I like to run, and I know a few things about running. And they have ambitions to be really good in their sport. And I said, well, you have ambitions to do that, but it's got to be met with action. Well, yeah, we've been working out with the team. I go, if you're going to beat the people on your team, I know they're your teammates. You want to help them and support them. But if you're going to want to beat them, you're going to have to do something else that they're not doing. I go, so that's why we're going to do 2 days now. And so Legend Epic, they get done with their practice, and they come home, and they got another practice with me. And I think if they were choosing, and they were in here again to interview them, they would say that their coach is much kinder than me. Because I'm like, no, you got this. I know what you're capable of. If you're going to complain about me, well, you'd have to complain to me or your mom, and she's going to just say, be obedient and listen to your dad, right? So they'll grumble and complain about the one more push-up, though they want the results without doing it. And I think that's so indicative of us as humans. We want the result of, I don't want to be lazy anymore, by osmosis. Or I want my addiction to go away by, of ease, I guess. It's just not the way it goes. So here we go. They're lining up through the formality. David left his things with the keeper's supplies, ran to the battle lines, and asked his brothers how they were. As he was talking with them, Goliath the giant, the Philistine champion, stepped out from his line, shouted his usual defiance, and David heard it. Whenever the Israelites saw the man, they fled from him in great fear. Posing the question to you, what do you do when your giant squawks? What's your go-to to fix it? Self-medicate, to soothe the issue. Maybe some of you don't do things that are positive. Maybe you go to anger. Maybe you go into depression. Maybe there's so many things that can happen. But the Israelites, seriously, they're running and hiding in holes. That's where they're headed here. When he comes out, they run and hide in holes. They are useless at this point. They're not standing up for what's right. Because remember, Goliath is coming and putting down God. There's nothing inside them that rears up. Our God is stronger. Our God is greater. What's the next line in that song, Lil?
Our God is higher than any other.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for singing that. It was great. We should have done that song today. Now the Israelites have been saying, do you see how this man keeps coming out? He comes out to defy Israel. The king will give great wealth to the man who kills him. He will also give him his daughter in marriage and will exempt his family from taxes in Israel.
Sounds like Goliath has it made.
Why?
That's what it's saying, right?
No, this is if anyone kills Goliath. So like David gets the girl.
Whoever kills Goliath.
Yeah, David's going to have no more taxes. And he's going to get
he's going to
the
have it
wife.
all.
Yeah.
He does this.
It's
Man.
like, I think David being a very young teenager is here, like, say what?
I got that. Yeah, like a young teenager who's like, I can do that.
Yeah.
You know, the confidence.
In verse 26, right after he goes, say that again? What do I get? I don't have to pay the government taxes for life? Mm-hmm. Sweet. And I get the king's daughter? Wow. Okay. Sure, we're like, right? So David asks what the man's saying, what will be done for the man who kills the Philistine and removes this disgrace from Israel? So he's irritated. Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? So his offense is not his people. It is God. They'll repeat to him what they have been said to them or told to them. This will be done for the man who kills him. Here's a cool thing in this story that you got to point out. No one at this point in the story had talked about God. This is David brings it in. David's first recorded words in Scripture is about God. We just read his line. He's asking what will be done for the man who kills the Philistine, removes this disgrace from him. Who is this uncircumcised Philistine who should defy the armies of the living God? That's his first opening lines. And it just shows his heart.
You know, I think like the people that were hearing this, the Israelites, like I wonder how many of them disqualified themselves of that can never be me. I couldn't do that. Like that I'm not worthy. That's just something I can't even fathom. So like that's talking about somebody else. Like that can't be me.
Mm.
And like disqualified themselves just because of the promise at the end was so much greater than they could fathom.
Oof. Yeah, that's I think, Dwayne, as you say that, and again, it's the voices in our head. When we hear the voice of our giants, do you remind the giants of God's plans? Right? That's some of the rubs with our giants is when we allow the giants to dictate our position and thinking and our actions and things of that nature. Do we know the truth about who we are? Mm-hmm. Because if you don't know that, then you're equipped inadequately for the battle. And so you've got to take some time and back up. Well, who am I? When I say or hear them say that I'm a child of God, what does that mean? Now, when we say a child of God, we got to make sure this means you've repented of your sins and you're a follower of Jesus trying to be like Jesus, okay? That's the short version of it. We can get to the complicated and theological parts of it if you'd like, but right now, we don't have that kind of time. A person that is a child of God are those that have repented of your sins and are in pursuit of being like Jesus. So when you hear your giants, if you can't remind your giants of who you are and God's plans for your life and God's promises for your life, you got to start there. You got to fill your quiver with the arrows. If you show up to a battle with an empty quiver, what's the point of the quiver? We got a lot of us showing up to these battles with no weapon. We got nothing. I mean, how silly do you look? Well, I know I'm a pastor, so I'm supposed to say, read your Bible. And I get tired of that just persona that like people roll their eyes. There he is again, tell me to read my Bible. I did an experiment. No one knew about this experiment. Today I'm revealing it. And here's where I got this idea, Dwayne. Maybe you're going to think I'm crazy and it was dangerous. Perhaps. Dwayne's like, what experiment did you do? Okay, I watched, and maybe you've seen this, Lily. There was a guy that was super fit. He is a trainer, and he helps train people that were very unhealthy, overweight. And he would listen to all their squawking about, oh, you want me one more push-up? It's so hard. I'm so sore. So he decided to put on 50 pounds of fat for, I think it was 6 months. Do you know who? I don't know his name, but you've not seen, the Buttier Bros documented this whole deal. And so this trainer it's the difference between he has a six-pack and now he's got a donut roll, right? Like it's just, you just see it very, very different in image. He talks about his blood sugar spikes through the roof, cholesterol, all these things because he ate McDonald's. He ate, Chick-fil-A for all those people that think it's healthy chicken. He just started doing all these things because he wanted to relate to those that he was with. And I thought, interesting. How can I what can I do in my own life to do this? I'm not training anyone, so I don't need to do that. I thought I'm going to take, and this not the wisest, I'm going to take 3 months and not read my Bible. And I did it. And I was miserable. I felt myself weakening as the weeks went on. Not in my trust and faith in Christ, but that I didn't have that thing that was counteracting all the other crap I get in my life. That I wasn't reminded of the truth. Though I know it, it's so good to be reminded of the truth. So when I face my giants, it's like I just read this today. So it was almost the entire summer I did not read my Bible. I prayed, but I didn't read my Bible because I was like, okay, I tell everybody to read their Bible, and they think I have to say that, and I get some kind of credit to Bible.com or something for every time I say it. And I don't. I am saying it because it's good for you. It's actually part of the equation of facing our giants. Now, Dwayne, when I say that, are you going, oh boy, that's a bit of a risk, isn't it?
It is. And my thought is, okay, like your position as a pastor, your position as leader over these people, it's like it's too much of a risk. But at the same time, we all are leaders in our household, and we take the same risk. And it's like if people watching this had that gut interaction of that's not good because a pastor says it, then it should be the same gut interaction that we have because we do it.
Yes.
So,
yeah. I genuinely wanted, because sometimes what happens, Dwayne, I think in life, like I'll use running. I take for granted that I can run. I don't really remember what it's like to be winded, right? On most of the things, right? Like there are things I can do and I'll get really, like, oh yeah, I don't, like the other day, the boys and I woke up very early to go collect some bale hays for a local farmer. And I don't do that kind of, like I'm not throwing bales of hay over my head. I was like crossfitting, but with bales of hay. There were times where I was like, whew, catch my breath on that one because that's not a workout I do. And so obviously I can feel it in different times. But for the most part, I don't remember what it's like to be out of shape. And so sometimes it's dangerous not to remember because then it becomes cliche. It just becomes taken for granted of. And I was really genuinely wanting to go, what's it feel like? Why is it important? And then I can speak more reality into this. Like, stop not reading your Bible. It's stupid to not read your Bible. Somebody will be offended by that. But here's the deal. Read your Bible. The Bible says don't be offended. We got a whole bunch of people in the world not reading their Bible, and they're taking offense to what somebody says opposing their thoughts. Big deal. Read your Bible. Now, I have been reading my Bible almost every day for a month or two. I knew to never mention it. Dwayne, I couldn't. Or to Lily, I couldn't mention it in the middle of it. Because one, somebody, oh, you're struggling with an attitude today. Read your Bible, Scott. Well, right, whatever it is. I couldn't mention that. But it was one of those things. It was like when I get through it, I get back to reading my Bible. It was hard to start reading again because I had lost that discipline to get up every morning and read the Bible and things of that nature. And so what did I have to do? I had to get back into a Bible app that allows me to track my days. I'm like, okay, I'm going 5 days in a row. Okay, I'm trying to get 7 in a row. Now I'm going to get 14 days in a row. And it was trying to do what? Build a discipline back in my life, reintroducing it. And man, the positivity in my life, the excitement, the just, I can fight my battles now. So much better. It's the very way to fill your quiver with arrows when you're facing your giant. Without reading your Bible, you got nothing. Self-help books, cool, but you're not putting arrows in your quiver. Just little thoughts.
I mean, it's our one, like...
Are you going, wait, over the summer now it explains a lot, Scott?
No. I mean, I know you were preparing for teachings and things, so... But that time is very important because God's word is our defense, because it's his literal words that we can memorize and we can speak to ourselves as our fighting, like it's how we're fighting. So yeah, it's important.
That's back to when your giants' voices rise up. Do you remind your giants of God's promises in your life? And you're only going to find those promises by reading your Bible. Back to the story. Now, this takes a crazy turn, but you'll see it all here. It's 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 28. When Eliab, David's oldest brother, heard him speaking with the men, he burned with anger at him and asked him, "Why have you come down here? And with whom did you leave those few mamby-pamby sheep with in the wilderness? I know how conceited you are and how wicked your heart is. You came down only to watch the battle." Oldest brother, he's pretty upset that he didn't get anointed to be the next king. It's like legend probably would be really irritated. Why didn't you pick me? You got revolution. I'm far more superior in skills on a one wheel than him, right? So legend's going to really probably... An unchecked heart is dangerous. A heart that doesn't filter it to Jesus principles of what happens when you're overlooked, God's working on you and the youngest at the same time, doing different things. That's wild. It can be the same scenario, different lessons for different people, and I love how God works. Oldest brother irritated. What's the brother do? What's the greatest weapon giants have to remind you of your insecurities? Who'd you leave those sheep with? Remember where you came from? And then you question your heart. See, David's first battle against the giant was rejection. Then it comes down to here, somebody's judging his heart. We have more than one battle in our life, and we need to treat all the giants the same way. We're giving you the antidote to face all giants. Name them. Say what they're saying to you. Who are they? What are they saying? What's God's promises, right? We're giving you the antidote to the giant. It doesn't matter what it is. Picking up in the story. "Now, what have I done?" said David. "Can I even speak?" He then turned away to someone else and brought up the same matter, and the men answered him as before. What David said was overheard and reported to Saul. Saul sent for him. David said to Saul, "Let no one lose heart." This is David talking to the king. "Let no one lose heart on the account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him." David replied, "You are not able to go out against him, this Philistine, and fight him. You are only a young man, and he has been a warrior from his youth." Again, he faced with a giant. I mean, that's the wild bit about this story. We hear the stories, David and Goliath, that's the only giant David has to fight against. We're seeing a long list of giants. Now, he's too young. Earlier rejected. You're a nobody in the family. Go be a shepherd boy. Now he's too young. Judged his heart. You're not a good man. This guy that you're going to go up against, he's a true warrior. You're just a shepherd boy. But I love what David, he has a little bit of how would you explain David when you read these Dwayne, when you read where David said to Saul, don't lose heart on the account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him. Well, how would you explain that? I mean, this is a teenager to a king. It's the equivalent of like a teenager. Let's say we send Epic. Could you imagine Epic talking to like the president? No matter if you voted, but the president's saying, and he's going, no, I'll go do it. That conversation would be very odd. But he's saying, hey, don't lose fear, President. I got you. How would you explain David's, there's something about him, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, he has the confidence. He, like, and I hope I'm not getting ahead, but Goliath wasn't David's giant that he faced. Goliath was the Israelites, was God's people's giant that they faced. But David had fought his giants with the rejection, with the being reminded all that. Like, that was really David's battle, and he attacked that. So Goliath wasn't David's battle. Like, I mean, yes, he fought him and David against Goliath, big. But really that wasn't anything to David. I imagine those 40 days God had worked on David during that, and God had been working on David to where now when David is faced with this battle that's a giant for everyone else, he has that confidence of, hey, I've been through this. I know what it's like. I know how to face this giant. And then he demonstrates, he shows the God's people how to deal with the giant.
Man, no, I'm just going to repeat what you said because this is pretty good. David's giant isn't Goliath. That's somebody else's giant. David's giants were rejection, judgment, and being forgotten, right? Those are his giants. Mm-hmm. It's interesting you bring that up. And no, it's not even my notes. It's just, that's good wisdom. How much confidence we have when we look at somebody else's giant and what to do. Right? Like, this is what I would do. And we can step into it. That's why it's important to do life with people. That's why it's important to have people around us because they can come in with the confidence of facing their own battle, their own giants, and go, hey, let me help you. I love that, Dwayne. I think that's so profound because a lot of times our giants aren't as public as a Goliath. David comes in and sees the giant they're up against, and he's able to do something because, like, I've gone up against something like this before. Like when Lily comes in with something, and she's talking to Holly and I, it's easy for us to go, oh, this is what you should do because of our experience of us facing our own giants before. This is what we did, and we can boldly speak with confidence, and this is what scriptures say, and this is how you walk through it, and we have all this confidence because of what we've walked through. And you just smack a home run, and Lily, she just did this. It was a couple weeks ago. She came in the office the day after, and you're like, wow, thank you for that, right? Remember, like just over the last couple of weeks, you've been facing a few things, and you came in and go, wow. Right?
Yeah, I do every time. For the most part.
Now, I'm going to be honest, we're going to take a real severe 90-degree turn here. We did not, this morning, we were not prepared for what Lily was going to bring into the house today. Okay? This is just true. Came in. She was talking about how hungry she was, so she bit into a meat stick, and I saw it. I was like, "Little something doesn't look good about that meat stick." And she has a bite in her mouth, Dwayne, and she's looking at it, and it was a moldy beef stick.
Moldy beef stick.
Like it was gross. Like it was in the pack. She opened it up, and she's like, "Ooh, it's moldy." While she's still chomping.
The sad part was it didn't taste bad. So and Scott's yelling at me like, "Spit it out! You're gonna die!" And I was like, "It tastes fine." I would have at least finished that bite.
There's a whole teaching there.
Yeah.
There's a whole teaching that, like, hey, just because it tastes good doesn't mean it's good for you.
Yeah.
But whatever, that's a whole nother topic.
But
so then she does spit it out eventually, and it was all this beef stick, brand new, moldy.
Yeah.
So then she's like, I left in such a hurry today, I couldn't get my hard-boiled eggs completely cooked. I don't know how you know that it wasn't cooked all the way.
Well, I just know that it was like 6 minutes. It really needs to be like 8.
Oh, so it's 2 minutes delay. So, Dwayne, what she decides to do is to take that hard-boiled egg in its shell and put it in the microwave.
She peeled it first.
Oh, you peeled it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I peeled it first.
She had the idea.
I was planning on doing this. Like, since I left my house.
She puts it into the microwave, and then we're talking about the recording and things of that nature today, okay? So we're having a great conversation, and all of a sudden she goes to bite into said egg, and what happens, Lil?
Well, I microwave the egg for about 20 seconds, okay? And then I let it sit for maybe like 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
What?
No, not
I think
that long.
I did.
Okay, continue.
Anyways, pick the egg up, put it in my mouth. It literally popped so loud in my mouth. Explodes.
It explodes, Dwayne.
I'm like, as quickly as I can get this stuff out of my mouth. And oh man, it was crazy. And now my lip is like blistering.
She does have a little blister on her lip from it.
It was the craziest thing. It was.
I've
crazy.
never seen anything like it.
It was wild. It was.
As soon as I could collect myself, I was like, "Did you guys see this? Did you guys hear that?"
We heard it. The whole house heard it. It was loud.
She started to cry because she was laughing so hard.
Holly's
I started
laughing.
crying because I was laughing so hard. It was
one of those things. If you could have filmed it, it pops, and then she's trying to get it out of her mouth with her hand.
And her hair is all in her face, and she's like just mouth hanging open, and egg flying out.
I don't know why she just doesn't open her mouth and let it fall out, but she's cupping it out.
Because you can't let that would have stuck. Like yolk would stick to your tongue.
So now to bring this full circle, Dwayne, to make this all make sense inside of Giants and that accountability and doing life with people, she texts her good friend, "You'll never believe what happened today. I had an egg explode in my mouth," and she's like, "Oh." Her friend Lex goes, "Oh, that happened to me in 2018."
And I was like, "You couldn't tell me?"
Yeah, like
which that's
well, have you
here nor there.
Have you texted all your friends today and said, "Hey, this could happen"?
Exactly.
We're doing that right now.
Yeah, this
do
is
not microwave a hard-boiled egg
and then eat
think
it
it's
immediately.
Gonna be fine.
Like,
we had other ideas of what to do.
Yeah,
but
maybe you
not
poke it with a
microwave.
fork. Maybe you don't microwave them. I don't think.
Or
what?
Do it and
see what happens.
Don't just bite it.
If
Your
yours
face
pops louder than Lily's. See if yours explodes.
But so again,
but I guarantee now on, whenever Lily's seeing someone put an egg in the microwave, either she's going to speak up and say, "Hey, like,
I will.
This is my experience."
Yes.
Or she's gonna sit back in anticipation.
I can't. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. It was that bad.
Dwayne, let's default to the first one based on the conversation or the topic of today, that she's going to step in and go, "Hey, my experience and confidence to tell them not to do it is because that was her small giant of an egg today."
Yeah.
Egg in the face.
Egg in the face.
Egg in the face. And so, again, it's a funny detour of making light of a big subject of when we're facing our giants, we want to get alone and we want to come back and how I fought my giant by myself, which is like just, it's up there for craziness. Oh, I did it by myself. That's there's so many words I want to use, but that means somebody's going to be offended when I say it. I'm just trying to say, man, don't do it alone. Don't do these things alone. When you're facing your giant, get around. People will have confidence to tell you how to face a giant based on their experience. Dwayne, you have a thought?
Yeah, and like I think we go to facing our giants, but who is struggling that you could offer insight into? Again, going back to doing life with people, like who's around you that's struggling with things because you don't know them, and you like God put you in that circle for a reason, but because you're not opening up, because you're not doing life with people, other people are struggling because you're not there to offer your insight, the wisdom that God's given you.
And then here, that just feeds into, this is why you should show up to church every Sunday, not just for, oh, did I get something out of it? Somebody needs something from you. Somebody's been praying all week for an answer to their prayer in a financial decision they have to make. Or do I buy a house, not buy a house? And you have the godly wisdom to give to them, but you're too tired. I don't want to go. Oh, what if this person's singing? What if this guy's teaching or this girl's teaching? I don't want to go. And you miss out on being the part of the solution when people are up against their giants. And the enemy's so good at it. Is keeping us from coming around and being a part of a community and constantly showing up. It's crazy to me. It breaks my heart. And like, do I have to demonstrate that? Like, let's do what I did with the Bible over the summer. I'm not going to show up to church for 3. This is not true. But what if I did that? Okay, for 3 months, I'm not going to go to church on Sunday and see how I feel. And see about those that would typically come up to me and ask questions. No, for 3 months, I just choose not to go to church, see what that feels like and how it feels for you. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good for me or for them. And so get your butt into church every week or as much as possible. No more excuses. Your giant could be the lack of you showing up to your community. Don't get me started. Let's get back to the story. 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 34. But David said to Saul, remember Saul's getting at him, who are you? You're too young. Your servant has been keeping his father's sheep. When a lion or bear came and carried off a sheep from the flock, I went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from its mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by its hair, struck it, and killed it. Your servant has killed both lion and bear. This uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them, because he has defied the armies of the living God. The Lord who rescued me from the paws of the lion and the paws of the bear will rescue me from the hands of this Philistine. And David just leans on his past experience where God has shown up and shown off and does something pretty incredible. And he goes, I got this, not because of my abilities, it's because of God and who's done it before in the past. He actually gives credit to God in areas in his life that we take credit for. I'm just that good. I can kill a bear. I'm just that fast. I can get a lion. Instead of saying God showed off and did something pretty spectacular. Stop taking God's credit from him. Place the credit where credit is due in your life, because it only gives and informs other people, oh, you're an inadequate individual and you relied on God's power. That's my solution to fighting my giant, is to rely on the power of God and not the power that I do not possess. Don't get me started.
Let's go.
This isn't David's first giant. It's not, again, back to what you said. It's not even his giant, really. He's just saying, listen, I know a thing or two about giants.
Yeah.
Have a plan. Have scriptures for your giants. So then Saul gets a great, okay, great. If you're going to go do this, man, you got to look the part. So we're going to put on my armor for you. And David tries on the armor, and he's like, this ain't working. It's too big. This is clumsy. This is how I've done it before. I'm just going to go back to be me. And sometimes in fighting the giants, we go and do what everybody else did, expecting, like, this is truth. Like, we see this, like, oh, you lost weight doing that? I'm going to try that. And then you realize, well, that diet doesn't work for me. Oh, you tried that? Right? You got to find what works for you, what scriptures encourage you and inspire you. You can borrow them from other people, and that might be the very thing that you needed. But sometimes we got to find out the thing that's going to be the thing that does it for us, and not taking on everybody else's stuff. You can try it. David tried it on and goes, no, that ain't good for me. Let me go back to what I'm used to and how I'm going to do it. Meanwhile, the Philistine, verse 41, with his shield bearer in front of him, kept coming closer to David as David makes his way out. He looked David over and saw that he was little more than a boy, glowing with health and handsome. Now, here's the deal. This gets overlooked, but the giant is really irritated that David's good looking. You catch that? I caught that this week. I was like, wait, the giant is annoyed that David looks good and is healthy. Your giant gets real frustrated when you start to have progress. When you're starting to look good and feel good, the giant starts getting more annoyed and nitpicking on those things. He said to David, am I a dog that you come with me with the sticks? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. Come here, he said. I will give your flesh to the birds and the wild animals. David said to the Philistines, you come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defiled. This day the Lord will deliver you into the hands, and I will strike you down and cut off your head. This very day I will give the carcass of the Philistine army to the birds and the wild animals, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. All those gathered here will know that this is not by my sword or spear that the Lord saves. For the battle is the Lord's, and he will give us, or give all of you, into our hands. Boy, he just goes off.
He says all that, and he's like, and I'm going to do what you said you were going to do to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to give your carcasses to the birds and the animals.
I mean, this is a teenager going up to a giant, okay? It's just crazy. It's like, again, Epic talking to The Rock. Or Dwayne Johnson, right? It's equivalent. It's like, yeah, right, that's hilarious. Not going to happen. He's squawking, but his confidence isn't from him and his abilities. It's God. I love that he says all this is going to happen, and they're all going to know it's done by God. Here's what happens when we experience victory over our giants. We claim the victory. Oh, I just did this. Yeah, you did the actions, but the power and the strength to continue to be consistent came from the Holy Spirit. Give credit where credit is due. As the Philistine moved closer to attack, David ran quickly towards the battle line to meet him. Reaching into the bag, taking out a stone, he slung it and struck the Philistine on the forehead. The stone sank into the forehead. He fell down on the ground. So David triumphed over the Philistine with a sling and a stone, without a sword in his hand, and struck down the Philistine and killed him. David ran and stood over him, took a hold of the Philistine's sword, drew it out from the sheath. After he killed him, he cut off the head with the sword. Whew. He did what he said he was going to do. Now, we should have loaded up a video, Lil. It was our bad. You're trying to do it right now, I can tell, aren't you? Earlier this year on a mission trip down in Arkansas, we got to meet somebody that could throw a sling or sling a sling.
It was so impressive.
Wow. Now you start going, okay, this isn't like a pullback sling where you dink. This is you're starting to twirl, and then you let it go, one piece of the rope, and that rock flew. He would tell us, hey, you see that tree right there? It's like 50 yards away. He nailed the tree trunk. Then he was like, see that tree over there 100 yards away? I'm going to nail that. And he, boom, hits it. And when the rock hit the tree, everybody, the rock exploded.
That's how hard it was going.
It was wild, wasn't it?
It was crazy.
Like my jaw dropped.
Well, and even just to think that you can, I should have brought the sling out.
Yeah, we're really not prepared.
That you could aim with this thing. And
right?
he could. Like, you always just think it's a sling and you just let it fly and whatever it hit, it hits. But nope, it's very precise and it was impressive.
To me, I think it highlights that once you saw that, we brought it back and we gave it to the kids at kids camp. So if you've never been a part of Unlock Summer Camp, like you've really got to be a part of it. Like you're missing out. Like you should come and be a part. Like
man, we're plugging for
Yeah.
Unlock Summer Camp.
We've plugged a lot today. We've plugged a lot of major things that make your life better. Go to church. Read your Bible. And serve. I mean, right there. You want to face your people. Yeah. Just, okay. It's good. Lily, you're sending that to me, by the way. I'm seeing it pop up on my screen. Do you want me to accept that?
No.
Don't accept it. Decline. It feels good to decline things. Mm-hmm. Decline. It never feels good when your debit card gets declined, though. No. Not a good feeling.
Deleted.
You
know what that's from?
Feels good to decline, but not to decline.
Yes, exactly. See? That's right. That's a whole nother topic, Dwayne. And Dwayne, we could continue on this. The story continues. It's a great story. I think today we're setting up a good platform foundation of our champion series of how to fight and win every battle. We got to come back to this. All the things we talked about today are all the part of the equations getting ourselves to be champions in life. There's no easy way to do this. And every human that's come before us, Dwayne, and will come after us, will have to face giants and do the same thing to overcome the giants. The question is, will they do it? Will they do it? Will I do it?
And to be honest, like those battles are very rarely that quick. Like it is a constant battle. So, but the great thing is the battle's not over. Like it's just a matter of like God is sustaining you. Like if God woke you up this morning, you have breath in your lungs. Today is the day to engage in that battle. If you've been losing, if the giant has got you on the ropes and is ready to, like, you just feel like it's about to be over, like today's the day to go on the offensive and to get up and to apply what we've been talking about for the past 45 minutes.
Yeah. It's the application of again, I know it's a short fight for David who shows up on the battlefield, but remember, the Israelites' giant was Goliath, and Goliath was doing what he's doing for 40 days and 40 nights. That's 80 times he came. That's a long time to face a giant that scares you. Today is your victory day. meaning you're going to start fighting back. You might celebrate the overall victory 40 days from now. That's up to you. The application of this is the important part. The application of this is the game changer. So let me pray really quick for us today. Jesus, I thank you for an opportunity to learn through stories of the Old Testament. I thank you for the David and Goliath story. As much airplay as it gets, may it be a truth that plays a lot in our hearts when we're facing our giants, the things we're up against. Those that are writing things in the chat or in the comment section below on this video, would you help them face their giants, be able to identify their giants, their confidence rise? So grateful to be able to talk about this with friends. I ask that it penetrates every heart that listens. Jesus, continue to use this channel to be a light in the darkness as we point them to you. Jesus, we love you in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Dwayne, for being with us today. Lily, let's do giving. How can people give to Unlock Church as you guys are a part of this and you love it and enjoy? Your generosity helps us. That's not our goodbye, Dwayne, so don't go anywhere. Your generosity helps us continue to keep the lights on in the office, to spread the good word, to do mission trips, to see needs and meet needs around the globe. And so we're grateful for your generosity. Maybe some of you don't know, we give resources to an organization that steps into the hurricanes. Like, we don't experience hurricanes here in Minnesota, but we give to an organization that sends first responders within hours of an event like that in the United States. And sometimes we have volunteered as a church to go and help, but we can't do that every time. So we give monthly to those organizations. So when you give to us, you are giving to those organizations as well through us. And so we're not just sitting here going, oh, all this resource is for us. We don't assume that. We go, God, what do you want us to do with it? And we have, from almost the beginning of Unlock Church, partner with organizations that can see needs and meet needs at a larger capacity than us. So you just got to know that when you give, you're giving to a whole lot more than just to Unlock Church. Lily, how can they do that today?
Yes, you can text the word unlock to 77977, or you can go to unlockchurch.com/give, and you can even find an address, a P.O. box on there to send a check to on that same website.
Thank you, Miss Lily. Hey, if you're interested in doing some kind of small group with us, we're trying something different this year. We're going to take and plug you into a live small group here. You would be on a computer. You would be on a laptop, depending on how each of the places set up their small groups. But you can participate digitally, but also physically, if you will. There will be a learning curve. But we're inviting everyone here on this platform to jump into small groups here. You have an opportunity to fill out a survey that came out in an email. If you would like to be a part of those small groups, you can actually click this QR code that's going to pop up on your screen here, and you can go, I want to fill that. I want to be a part. I know a couple of you are already saying I'm in, but we want to make sure we're making this some public announcement to all of you. Here's your QR code. Join a small group, everybody.
Yeah, and if you can't click that QR code, you can go to unlockchurch.com and go to upcoming events, and it's on there. The link is on there.
It's going to be a cool opportunity to hang with those that are here in Minnesota, so it's another avenue for you to get a weekly meetup. Small groups are happening once a month. A couple of them are every other week. They have different schedules. You'll know it when you get placed in your small group, okay? Also, we have a survey that was put out as of last week, Friday, before you're seeing this, about online services. We're just trying to learn the audience, because we know that we have somewhere around 20 to 30 people on Sundays that are in the live chat. And then we have around 100 plus that watch after the fact. We're trying to learn how to best serve this community. What are your needs, desires? We know that Marnie gets up at 6 a.m. to watch. Is there a better time? And so we want to learn those things through a survey. So if you're not a part of our email, you can sign up as well at going to unlockchurch.com/connect. And through that, you can sign up for an email that would give you the survey. You can also text the church number if you haven't got the survey to fill out the survey about online, okay? We're going to do this for a couple weeks, and then we will evaluate as a leadership team the information given to us, and then go, what's the wise thing for us to do moving forward with this? We're not looking to go anywhere other than do better for you. So make sure I put that in there. You're like, what do you think? No, we will be here on this platform. We are not going anywhere. It's just making sure we serve your house and your family better. Does that make sense, Dwayne? Do I need to add to that in case somebody's going, wait, you're scaring me?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I am excited to be a part of this just because we see just what God's done with this channel, with this group of people. And I really feel like we're on the forefront of God, like, being able to reach people. Like, I view this as, like, just if you walk by somebody out on the street and, God tugs on your heart to say something, and then that person needs to hear that. Like, we're calling that, like, that's a divine appointment. That's something that God has orchestrated for you to be there. And this platform, like, there's been so many times where we see people that, hey, I wasn't necessarily looking for a church, but through Scott Mendenhall and Friends, or I searched this and this title came up. It's like we want to be there for that. But we also want to do it with excellence, and with that, we're always, like, we're not set in this same thing. Like, we want to grow, we want to be better, we want to serve people better, and we want to share the gospel. We want to share the good news. We want to share the things that we're talking about better. So we want to learn. More information we have, the better we can be. Yeah,
that's well said. Well said, Dwayne. Lily, you got something?
Yeah, the link to this survey is on unlockchurch.com/unlockonline, and you can click it right there, and it'll take you through the survey as well. So we gave you many ways to find the survey, because we want to hear from you, and we're even going to post, like, this little clip on Instagram later on, so that those of you who log off while Scott prays will see it somewhere.
Yeah. Because we can see that as well.
Because we do care about your input.
We do know that some people, as soon as we go to the prayer, Dwayne, they're like, goodbye.
Have a great day.
Which is fine. So then they miss the upcoming events and things of that nature. And so we understand. In a digital platform, you come and go as you can and need to. So we're excited to be here and to, like you said, Dwayne, continue to grow together. Dwayne, thank you for always making time to be a part of this. It is awesome to see you every week, to hear your wisdom. I think over the last 3 weeks, Dwayne, you've been dropping it like it's hot. You've been dropping some serious wisdom. Just from the comments from people that have been talking throughout the week, just going, Dwayne nailed it. And so I think at some point we got to flip the script and let you do the primary speaking, and I'll be the add-on.
Yeah, let's go.
But sometimes, meat, if you took a primary dish, meat isn't as tasty as the seasoning, and Dwayne is the seasoning.
Are you the meat?
I'm the meat.
Oh, sure.
I'm the bulk of it.
If I can be the mashed potatoes.
It's like Dwayne's the seasoning.
Cornbread.
You girls are the side dishes because you're on the left and right. Okay.
Today I'm a hard-boiled egg.
Yeah, blowing up in your face. Okay. If they're still watching, it's impressive. We love you all.
Love you all.
Have a wonderful day. And at this point, after it's been live on Sunday, the Vikings will have potentially sealed the deal, or who knows?
5-0.
Some history. Dwayne, have a fabulous rest of your afternoon.
Bye,
you too,
It's
guys.
good to see you.
Love you all.
Bye, everybody.
Love you, Dwayne. Bye. Lily, take care of that lip. It looks like you have injected your lips with Botox.
That's free lip injections.
Yeah, it was funny. Weren't we just talking about lip injections?
We were.
Then you
I
poof.
said if I came in with lip injections, you can say that I was superficial.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a judgment.
Yeah.
You need context of the whole conversation that's been happening for like 4 or 5 days. So it wasn't like weeks, I guess.
Okay, everybody. That part will probably not make it to the end of this.
It will.
Thanks for hanging with you.
Love you.
Have a great
Bye,
Sunday.
everybody.
Bye.